What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Platform, the podcast where I get to interview successful business owners in their industries and discuss with them topics such as how they've scaled their business, how they've built their platform, and how they've built a community for themselves, and the different types of marketing that they've used. And today, I get the honor and the privilege to interview a great friend of mine, a peer, very creative individual here in the Tampa Bay area. Anthony, so you have a lot going on right now, right?
Yes,
like when it comes to the creative space. And before you got into the space that you're in now, did you think you would be where you are right now?
No. So before I was in the studio or anything like that, I was just doing photography on my own. So I was like traveling and doing photography, just being pretty much freelance photographer.
Okay.
And I got into that just off. I was actually recording music. I went to school for audio engineering, and that kind of led into me becoming a photographer.
And how long ago was that?
A long time ago.
Look, I'm not trying to tell you your age. Look, honestly, I feel like you're young. Like you don't like you look young.
Yeah.
I mean,
I look young. So that was probably like, well, I would say like 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we won't go into age. So
no, not 20 years ago. I'm lying because no, it's no way it was 20 years ago. Then I'll be.
If it's 20 years. I'm 10 years old.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. It was a long time ago, but it wasn't 10 years ago.
Okay.
It was more like maybe 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
I'll say 10. Let's just stick with that. So nice.
Okay. Yeah. Where'd you go to school at for engineering?
GTCC and A&T in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
So music was your first choice.
Yeah, music was my first choice. I used to engineer. I used to do a little music on the side.
Huh.
So
you and I got something in common because I went to Full Sail and did the 2-year program there.
Yeah.
Got my bachelor's. I thought that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
The whole time I was there, I had a camera in my hand. I should have known that meant something, right?
Yeah. When I was going to music school, I didn't get my degree for the music. I stopped because I literally knew everything the teacher was telling me. And I felt like he was wasting my time. I'm like, I need to go back and I got stuff to edit. I got things to do.
Right.
And you're like, sometimes he'll fill the class with like just talking about like carrots in his farm at home. I'm like,
oh no, he was wasting time.
Yeah, he was burning through time. So I was like, I had to go.
Wow.
So
okay.
I ended up quitting that.
Okay. Well, would you have gone to school for what you're currently doing now if it had piqued your interest the same way that music had?
Maybe because I wouldn't have known at the time. I wouldn't have known any better to like maybe go on YouTube, and YouTube was just a new thing when I was coming up. So it wasn't like I could just jump on YouTube and like, oh, I'm gonna take this whole class on YouTube because that wasn't really a thing.
Right.
So like YouTube was just becoming where it is, where you can just go on there and learn anything, and that's really how I learned photography was after doing the music and stuff and getting familiar with like how programs work on computers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It was a simple transition into like Photoshop and stuff like that because the programs work similar.
YouTube University.
Yeah. Okay.
So no school for photography, no school for music, everything self-taught.
Everything self-taught.
And you eventually you transitioned into running your own business. Did you ever work for anybody?
Yeah, I worked at like what? What's that place? Office Depot.
Okay.
One time, and then I was in the Army for 12 years.
Okay.
And then and that's it, really.
You weren't doing both at the same time, Office Depot and the
in the Army. No.
What were you doing in the military?
So I was a forward observer in the military, and so dealing with rockets and stuff like that. So nothing to do with anything I'm doing right now.
Okay, so I just had a thought. We'll come back to that thought. Rockets.
Yep.
So like, can you go more into detail on like what you did? And this was what branch?
In the Army.
In the Army.
Yeah.
So you were building rockets?
No, not building rockets, like firing rockets, calling for fire, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were 12 years, and then when did you finally move to Tampa?
I moved to Tampa. So there's another job I did have that moved me in Tampa. So after being done with the Army and stuff like that, I worked for AT&T as a contractor doing inspections on their dig sites around the country and stuff like that. So they moved me to Tampa, and that's how I ended up coming out here. Yeah.
So just to let you guys know, I've known Anthony for quite some time now. I moved to Tampa in 2012. It's 2025 now.
Oh, okay.
That's about 13 years.
You knew me that long?
I lied. I've known him since like 2014, 2015. I knew of him. I didn't know him when I like had seen him because he was like a popular person at the time, or still is. He was like on the scene, and I was like, oh, who's this guy that's shooting all these amazing? So I've known of him for a lot longer than we've known each other. And we've known each other for at least 5 years. For at least like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I've never known about this part of his story. Office Depot, building rockets.
Not building rockets,
shooting rockets. And AT&T. So in the midst of all this, were you doing photography at all? Music at the same time?
Yeah. So I stopped doing music after my first deployment to Iraq. I quit doing music.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's when the photography like started. Like the whole time I was like deployed, I was taking pictures. I had like a little .2 camera taking pictures. I wish I still had those pictures.
Okay, like landscape or people or
this landscape, everything that was happening. I like literally took a picture of everything that was happening.
Interesting,
crazy stuff. But that hard drive is gone. You know, I've lost more pictures in my career than I've taken. That doesn't make any sense. But that's how many pictures I've lost. That's how many hard drives fail, guys. So if you have a hard drive, make sure you back it up. They fail.
Look, I received that. Yes. I have like 20, not 20. I got like 5 hard drives that I'm afraid to delete anything because I don't know if you feel the same way I do about photography, like just our photos. I don't care how old it is.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So I don't delete anything either.
Like, yeah, I want to keep it.
Yeah.
I don't like,
because one day, you might be, 10,000 years from now, somebody's digging up the dig site. They pull out your hard drive and they can see everything that ever happened. You'll be in the museum.
Like the capsule.
Yeah, you'll be the capsule.
The time capsule of
So if you start deleting stuff, they're not going to know what it is. Like you're curating it. I don't want to curate it. It's just like they can find it and dig it out.
Yeah, it's not film anymore. It'll be a...
Yeah, I don't know how they'll do it.
Yeah, some sort of...
zapper or something.
But how do you turn this on? They won't even know.
Like, what is this thing?
No, okay. So you've done a lot. And it kind of makes me like curious to even just know how you ended up here, because the you that I know now versus the you that you probably were in the military when you were working office, was probably totally different. Like your level of creativity, the level of like resourcefulness. I'm sure you probably get that from, I don't know. As far as I know, military kind of breeds resourcefulness into a lot of people.
Breeds resourcefulness and problem solving.
And I do see a lot of that in you. Like the studio we're sitting in is like incredible. Like
appreciate it.
And
you guys come check it out.
Yeah, come check out a studio. If you're in Tampa Bay area, if you're ever in this space, come check out his studio. Yep. You're gonna love it. The amount of resourcefulness that I've seen him like put to use when it comes to creating certain things, such as the way that this setup is sitting up on the wall right now, and the way he did that.
It's not real.
It's
background's not real. So it's just like a fabric thing that's on a magnet track that I put up here. So it's pretty cool.
It looks real enough too. And there's like 4 other ones that sitting in front of us right now. And I feel like you've taught me, and I'm sure you've taught a lot of other photographers as well, just how to be more resourceful, because I know as a baby photographer, when I first started out, I was always like, oh, I need this in order to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And you kind of you paint a very well representation of use what you have, or it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to do it, to get it done. Do you ever feel like you were that person at one point in your career where you felt like you needed the best expensive lens, the best camera?
Yes.
Because I know you shoot with.
Yes. So, and that it's like a whole thing. So like I always wanted to get the Canon 5D, right? And I was shooting, like when I first started shooting, I was shooting on a Rebel, and pictures were okay, but like my whole goal was like I got to get that camera, I got to get that Canon 5D. I was working hard for it. I'll take crazy jobs for it. I'll do whatever I had to just so I can get that. $3,000 so I can just spend it all on that camera plus the lens. So it was like what, $5K just dropping on the whole camera. Then when I finally got that, I was like, okay, now what? Right. And like that's almost like a life thing. Like you're putting all your time and effort into a goal just to get to that goal, and once you get to that goal, you kind of like lost. So like sometimes you have to plan beyond getting that camera or beyond just like getting your first shoot, because got more things happen after that. So,
Right.
But yeah, I was that guy that was like, oh man, I need to get that camera, and I finally got the camera. It felt so strange.
You just not too long ago got that camera, right?
No, 5D.
There was a camera I've seen you shooting with for a very long. Was it the 5D that you?
Yeah, 5D. Yeah.
And you upgraded.
Yeah, I got the Mark IV.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So you shot with the 5D for about how long?
For a long time, really. So actually, what I had before the 5D, I had a what you call it? I had a 1D, but it was an old 1D that I got from a friend, and it died on me. And then I was shooting with just a Rebel, and then I finally got that 5D.
Okay.
And that thing changed everything.
And you have that one still now?
I still have that one. Yeah, I still use that one, and that's like a backup camera though. Okay. I use the 5D Mark IV, and eventually I'll be changing to something mirrorless. I don't know which one yet.
Mirrorless is
Canon. Which one?
Sony.
Which one are you gonna send over
Sony.
here? Or is this a Sony channel?
No. Well, look,
is this sponsored by Sony?
Sony hit me up.
It could be. The whole studio could be sponsored by somebody.
It could.
Just saying, it's open-ended right now.
Right. Look,
for now.
I hope a lot of photographers, any creatives that are watching this, anybody that's running a business, kind of receive the message that we just talked about in regards to using what you have and not working toward a specific, like spending all your time working toward a specific goal. Because I was one of those people for a while, and it's expensive, and for the longest, like even I didn't have the best photography camera, and but I had at some point I bought the best lens, like a great lens, and it was good enough, to pair up next to a 5, whatever, a better camera than what it was. Sometimes it's just the lens. Sometimes it's just the lighting that you need that can, change everything for you. So use what you have, right?
Yeah, use what you have. Because really, even with the camera, it's not really about the camera. It's about the story you're telling. So if you can tell a story with the photos you're taking, who cares how it looks?
Yeah.
People that they're famous photographers that take crappy pictures. I mean, it's a thing. It's a whole thing.
That's true.
It's really not the camera. It's the story that's being told. You watch TikToks that are horrible.
That is true. And they got a lot of followers.
You're right. They got a lot of followers. It's just the story they're telling. It's what they're talking about, the content. So.
Oh, that was strong. Okay. Since we're talking about stories right now, I know you're not just a photographer. You're not just a
lot of different things.
A creative. You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You're a mentor to some, and you also have a brand. So YISM, you have that. That's the brand, and then you also have products, and you have a clothing brand.
Right.
Can we talk a little bit about the clothing brand and the overall brand?
Yeah. So the clothing brand started pretty much the same time. Well, it came into fruition the same time I started taking pictures. Just maybe a little bit late, maybe a couple months later. So what ended up happening was I was like, okay, I can do this photo thing. I'm pretty good at it. I want to try to do it as a whole business. But at the time, I wasn't as confident to walk up to somebody like, hey, you want to do a photo shoot or get booked and stuff like that. So I was like, I came with an idea. I was like, hey, I can wear a shirt that says, yes, I shoot photos on it, right? And then I wouldn't have to tell anybody that I took pictures because they would just see it on my shirt.
Right.
So I made that shirt at the mall in the kiosk. And then I just started walking around, put it on as soon as I made it, put it on. The minute I put that thing on, somebody was like, "Hey, I need a photographer."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, damn, that worked."
Wow.
I was like, "But I don't want to wear a shirt that says yes, I shoot photos, because that sounds corny, right?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, but I mostly shoot models and stuff like that." So I was like, "Let me change photos with models. I guess I shoot models." Did that shirt, booked again. Next time I put it on, and I was like, "Bam, this is the brand right here. Yes, I shoot models." And I was like, instead of using Instagram all the time, because
Genius.
this was a time when Instagram kind of just first started, and like MySpace had went away. So it was like, you notice that, oh, apps can go away. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna use Instagram as a platform to put the pictures on, but I'm not gonna put all my effort into it, because I don't know, it could go away just like MySpace or whatever. So
Right.
I was like, okay, let me take these pictures and put them on a t-shirt. The t-shirt will last forever. Somebody's house, I can get them in the stores or whatever.
Yeah.
But this time I wasn't getting them in the stores or nothing like that. I didn't even know how to print them or anything like that. But that was the idea. The whole, like the YISM, the shirt, pictures on the shirt, and then the actual booking without having to tell anybody anything.
So you pretty much just created walking billboards of your brand
Right.
out there, like a walking social media
Right.
version of your timeline.
Right.
on
Out in the
people.
world.
That's wild. That's wild.
It worked very well.
I see. I never thought of it like I've seen the clothes. I've seen
Yeah.
the like just the brand.
Even
but
up till now, I've had people that like that never knew me,
Yeah.
never even like knew it was a studio. And the first time they come to like, hey, I got one. I have a shirt that I think you made. Did you make this shirt? Like, yeah, that's one of the shirts from the studio.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I might steal that idea. Now that you put it in perspective of like the whole marketing aspect to that idea, like that's genius. You guys, like, if y'all not out there doing that right now, like, honestly, the people, everybody's stealing everybody's ideas anyways. Do it.
You can do that. You can start to a little brand, put it on your shirts, sell it to your models and stuff like that, or sell it to your clients. It don't have to be models.
Exactly.
Like, I would say shoot, like when I started shooting a ton of models and stuff like that, that actually can prevent you from shooting other people too. So you don't have to shoot models. It's not the thing.
True.
Because people want to book you for what you shoot.
Right. Like a family won't book you if they see
family won't book you if you're shooting celebrities. They just scared.
Yeah.
Or not even scared, they just don't see themselves in the picture.
So when you had the Yes I Shoot photos, you were probably reached out to a little bit of anybody.
Yeah, something like that would probably reach out to more a diverse crowd versus the models.
The models.
Like, is most specific, like, people that like see themselves as a model or something like
that. And that kind of raises my radar, because like when I hear certain words, my whole marketing brain turns on, and I go kind of start to I'm not that crazy, but I obsess over marketing. And when you said, like, you were very specific in your messaging when it comes to Yes I Shoot models. It was very specific. So people knew what you do. They didn't have to guess. Like, hey, do you shoot dogs?
Right.
Do you shoot no, I shoot dogs. And if you wanted to take on a family portrait, then you would.
Right.
But you were very specific to what you wanted to focus on. And I think, like, in today's world, not just photographers or videographers, but a lot of people, they're not clear in their messaging. Some people can look at their brand and be confused on what they really do or what they offer. And it's not because they're just like, their message isn't clear, but they're not even clear on what they do.
Right.
How did you know that shooting models is what you wanted to do? Or even how did you get into that space of shooting models?
Let's set that part off. Okay, I remember now. So the part that made it like mostly models is because I was starting a different company that was more of a branch off of the music company I had. So it was a magazine. It was like E&T magazine. So what I was doing, I was putting people on the cover of the magazine, and it was mostly models. Like, it was like a model magazine almost. Like, so almost if you can think of like XXL or something like that.
Yeah.
So we had built a website with that, and like, we had the model section and stuff like that. And then I was getting a lot of people, like models and stuff like that, to put their pictures on the cover. We were doing contests with models and stuff, and it was working. So I was like, oh, this is a good thing right here. So that's why I ended up shooting a lot more models and stuff like that. And then I think me and my cousin back in the day wanted to do a calendar. We never made the calendar, but and we were gonna like make a model calendar and try to sell it. So
Right.
that was something. That's how I got in that direction.
Okay. And I know, I guess my introduction to you was, I think it might have been a picture of a model that I seen, maybe on Facebook or Instagram. Um, actually, no. My first introduction to you was Club Asia.
Asia. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the way like your images were displayed like on the wall.
On the screens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it on purpose.
Yeah. Like you walk in there and you see this like beautiful model just sitting up on the wall.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, and I'm a photographer too. And I'm like, that's a really nice picture. Like the picture's like, it's like real almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen a photographer market himself in that way at the same time as taking photos in the club.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw you do that, I immediately started to think about myself as a nightclub photographer, because I was doing nightclub photography at the time as well, and what I could possibly start doing to, I guess, get more business for myself, because I didn't quite know what money, like what revenue looked like in that space. I wasn't getting paid. I was getting paid like $50 to go shoot at the club.
Paid nothing. Yeah.
So I'm like, what? In my mind, I'm like, you're making thousands of dollars doing this. And maybe you weren't, but like in my mind, I'm like, they're paying him a lot of money because this is one hell of an experience to come in here and take pictures like this. When you were working at the club shooting, is that something you figured would be long term? And did you think, and was it making enough money for you to sustain yourself?
So it was part of the strategy that I had, but I had from North Carolina actually. So what ended up happening in North Carolina, my friend owned a whole bunch of clubs and stuff like that. So I noticed, like, if you control the nightlife, you can pretty much be like a celebrity, and you can run around, do whatever you need to do, shoot who you need to shoot, and just like everybody just revolves around you and type stuff.
Wow.
So he owned a bunch of clubs, and we could go to any club we wanted to in the town we were in, because like everybody knew who we were. So we can just walk in, not have to wait in line or nothing like that. So when I came here, I was like, I can replicate that, but I just got to get in the club.
Right.
So what I did, since I had already pretty big following, was I was like, hey, all the club promoters, I posted this on Instagram, who needs a good photographer to work in the club? And I was like, and then a few of the promoters hit me up, and they were like, oh yeah, come by or whatever. But like one time I went to one guy, he was like not really like giving me any attention. Like I was trying to have like a serious meeting, like, you know, they were trying to treat me like a regular like club promoter,
like photographer,
like, all right, go ahead, take pictures. I think that's, now looking back at it, that's what he wanted me to do, is like just go take pictures, like come to the club. No, I was trying to have a meeting, like I was having a meeting with him, and like, what can we do? How can we work on stuff together and stuff like that? So another club promoter hit me up, and he was like, yeah, come by. This was Big Chris at Asia. Shout out to Big Chris, you know, hooked me up. He put me on and stuff.
Shout
like
out
that
Big Chris.
But so I went to Asia. He was like, yeah, I want to do this, and this. And like we had actual meeting, we talked and stuff like that. And it was cool. And it was similar. So the situation ended up being similar to how I had in North Carolina, where I had access to the club. I can do pretty much what I needed to do, talk to anybody, and go in and out of any club without having to worry about anything. So having that is very powerful. So having that now I'm taking people's pictures in the club. Yeah, I make they were paying me like $200 a night to come out there. It wasn't like thousands of dollars like you might think. But where the money was at was afterwards, because after the club, doing all those photos and stuff like that, instead of like just taking pictures and then like keeping the pictures and then giving them to Chris or whatever, I would have the pictures and people could hit me up for the pictures. I wouldn't give it to nobody until they hit me up for the pictures. So they had to follow me right then and there in the club in order to find their pictures. And that shot up the Instagram. So like I could, so now people are just booking me for regular photos because now they know I'm the photographer to go to.
How many years were you doing that?
I don't even know. Long time.
It was a while. It was a while, yeah.
And then they didn't have a guy that did the lighting in the club either. So, and there was like a whole lighting board, and the thing you were seeing on the screen, I was doing that. So I went up there. I did all the cool shit with the lights, with the DJ and stuff like that. And then I put in to the computers. I put in all the images, so that way I can make the videos and all that stuff. And like that, why you're seeing all these photos, like, oh my goodness, all these dope photos. Yeah, they were all my photos that I was putting into there just so people could see it, and then they'll book more photo shoots.
Y'all, this isn't even the half of like his genius.
Yeah,
like
that's just, and that was working very well, working really good.
So. Y'all. So, and that takes a lot of just effort, one on your end, to even want to do that, because of, like you said, there's a strategy to it.
Yeah,
like it's a lot of work on the front end, but in the back end, it was very rewarding.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of like people, photographers especially, because we can sometimes be very, what's the word? Emotional about our craft, that we are not willing to put in sweat equity to actually get to where we want to get. That we're just, no, if I'm gonna do this, you're gonna pay me because
no, if I'm gonna do sometimes you gotta do stuff for free in order to get to that money.
Exactly.
Right. So because they don't know who you are. Like, you start with somebody new, they don't know who you are, they don't know what you can do. So you gotta show them.
And you did more than they probably even expected.
So I mean, that was the half of, okay, so I was doing that at the same time I was designing clothing for the clothing brand, which was in all the malls in the area. So people were coming to the club wearing my clothing at the same time they were partying. So the same image they seen on their shirt was on the screens. And this was like, these clothes were in the mall all over the country, not just like here in Tampa. It was all over the country. So it was pretty dope.
No, you guys definitely created, like, that was a time, like a vibe at that time back in Tampa. It does not exist
Tampa
now.
does not like that anymore.
It's not.
We need to bring that back. We got to bring that back.
Yeah, and it was very, like, it was very cultural. It was very, like, I guess, eclectic.
Yeah.
In terms of like style and the urban, like the urban space. And I feel like you definitely brought a lot of that here. There's, other like actual, like other clothing designers that contributed to it as well. But you as a photographer and doing it the way that you did, like, I commend you. Like that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like, I still think about it all the time, and there's only like maybe 3 photographers that come to my mind when I think about Tampa, but you're front of mind in the realm of creativity and culture. And so I don't want to go too deep into like your personal world, but I do want to kind of understand where this creativity stemmed from. Like, how did this, like, what do you, like, was it, like, for some people it's, I watched cartoons all my life and that was where you were.
So I mean, I've always been like creative, but in different ways. I remember how I was saying in the beginning, they used to call me Skits.
Yeah.
So that comes from, so I had a company called Schizophrenic Entertainment that I started a long time ago.
Okay.
And the only reason it became that is because, so when I used to do music and I was in the Army, one of my friends, he was like, bro, it's like you're schizophrenic or something. Like, one minute you're doing this, one minute you're doing that, one minute you're doing that. He's like, and he kept calling me Skits. And that's how that whole thing started. Like, so I was always creative. I feel like the first time I figured out my creativity was one time I was with my mom, and I was looking at a comic book, and I was like, I think I could draw this. And she was like, no, you can't. I was like, yeah, I think I can. She was like, let's see it, let's draw it. And then I drew it, and I was like, oh, shoot.
Oh,
yeah. And that was the first time I feel like that creative was like really hitting me. But then me and my mom would always have like conversations of like cool ideas. We'd be sitting on the patio and like, I'm like, oh, this would be a cool idea. We should do something like this, or we should do something like that. So
okay. So it started as a young kid. And are there any other like creatives that you do look up to or kind of are inspired by, that may have impacted your direction that you took in the creative space that you're in?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of photographers. One that comes to mind, I don't know if you remember, there was a t-shirt brand ran by a photographer named Van Styles, who was skateboard.
Yes, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one inspiration.
Okay.
Mario Testino, he's a photographer for Vogue, stuff like that. Just like different people.
Okay.
I get from different places. Cause kind of inspired the whole thingies, so it's
Wait, who
kind of
did?
Cause,
Cause. How you spell it?
Kaws.
Okay, I know the brand.
Cause.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
the hat thing. Well, almost like how this thing is, but
Okay.
he has his own character.
Okay. And
He's the one that kind of started the whole Brick Bear kind of thing. Well, one of the people that started that whole toy thing, the collector toys.
You designed this?
No,
No.
that I designed the sign. He's holding. That is a super plastic.
Okay.
But I've designed thingies, so thingies is different.
Right.
It's like
I'm gonna put that on the screen so they can see thingies. But this okay. So without this in its hand, it's just a cat.
Just a cat, but from a different brand.
Right. But you decided to put this in his hand.
Yeah.
This looks like yours.
Yeah, it looks like. Please don't sue.
Look, I'm just.
But hey, we want to do a collab on accessories. I can design accessories.
Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like this right here is. It's an art piece, and I would put it up in my space. Like I don't like, and you've done that with a lot of other things that I've seen you do. Do you how much would you say that creativity has impacted your like the ability to implement the amount of creativity that you have into your business? How much would you say it has impacted the amount that your business was able to scale?
Well, creativity is 100% everything about it. Like I have to be creative. Like literally, I'm living off my creativity 100%. So if I wasn't creative, I don't think I'd be working somewhere.
That's it.
Because
yeah, no, that's really the only answer to that. And hard work is one thing. So yeah, definitely like put in the work. I don't.
Yeah, gotta put in the work. Hard work is something. I mean, you don't have to work hard to be successful, but you do need to put in work.
Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that separates us is going to be that creativity. Right. That time that you put into actually making yourself stand out.
Yeah. And it's creativity and acting on your creativity as well, because there's a lot of creative people, but they won't like do the thing they want to do. They're scared. Don't be scared. Or you could be scared, but still keep moving. Did
you have moments in your career where you felt like you were sitting still and you weren't moving as fast as you felt like you wanted to?
Always feeling like, I could be doing more to like get to where I need to be. But you got to like give yourself some grace and be like, you're only one person.
Right.
You can make it happen, but you can't. I ain't superhero or nothing, But at the end of the day, you still got to figure out how to make it happen.
Any challenges that you've dealt with that kind of made you second guess if this granted.
Funds. I mean, I would say that's like the biggest thing, like having the money in order to like make something happen. That's the hardest part.
Right.
Because like starting a clothing line, you have to have money for that. Getting your camera, you got to have money. Like the first camera, like we were talking about, I had to go work for AT&T and get a contracting job and move all around the country just to get the dang on camera.
Right.
And then like deciding to stop doing that and doing that. So it's like, it's the funds is the hardest part, but don't let that be like something that stops you from doing it. Because I mean, if you have to get your phone and take pictures, people, it doesn't matter. It's you tell a story, take a picture, people resonate with that.
Yeah, and like you said, if you could use your phone, whatever it is you can use, so that you're not using an excuse such as money or not enough time or I can't because whatever. Fine. I just lost my train of thought. We'll cut that.
You can make it happen.
Yeah, you can make it happen. The other thing I wanted to address is that a lot of us, especially in the service-based industries, we do end up getting to a point where we are overworked or feel overworked because we are service-based. And I wanted to talk a little because marketing is something that I really want us to understand, and not even just marketing, but brand building. building a brand. W- Although you provide a service, can you explain the strategy behind how you developed a product into your service-based brand and why it was important to you for you to do that?
How developed the product? What do you mean?
How you developed a product. So you have like the clothing brand, you have thingies, you have prints, things like that people can purchase from you outside of just you providing them a service.
Okay. I got
so
you,
can you explain like how, like why you developed a product, and then just the importance of having a product, especially being a service-based brand? Can you kind of touch
so
on
yeah
that?
so like I was kind of saying before, with the shirts and stuff like that, I didn't want it to be something where it just sat on Instagram or something like that. I wanted it to be like here in the physical world and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to build now with so we got products like thingies, I have apps on the App Store, building more apps for the App Store. So what I'm trying to build is something like if I was a Disney or a Warner Brothers. So it's a studio that does everything. Like we control your entertainment, we control your knowledge, your media, everything. So we have products that, cups that you could take home for memorabilia and stuff like that, but learning products, like the posing guide. So like if you have problems with like posing your models and stuff like that, you can look on there for a quick reference.
I've actually used the posing guide.
A lot of people use the posing guide.
Very
it's really good.
It comes in handy.
And it's we got some new tech coming from it soon. I'm working on that still.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different products because of what I'm trying to build. So it's like more than just a photography studio or more than just photography. It's a whole ecosystem of things that are happening. So like we have like cartoons that I'm working on. It's just like a whole lot of things that I'm building a whole movie platform. So what we're gonna do with that is like here in the studio we'll have film festivals. And then the film festival videos will go onto our actual platform that's on the app and stuff like that. And then we'll turn into something like Netflix down the road. And then Netflix will have to fight.
And I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask this question, and it's not to like,
or we could be friends.
I'm going to ask the question as like it's going to sound negative, but it's not. Why? Why not just one thing? Why not just maybe the photography's in the clothes? Why not just the photography and the the thing? Why so much?
Not?
Okay,
is my question. Yeah. So I don't know. I do have this issue where like a lot of people will be like, oh, you can't do a lot of things all at one time. Yeah, I understand that. You got to work on one thing and put your whole heart into it. But then I'm like, why can't I have everything? Like, why can't I have what I want? Like, I want to try this. I want to try that. I want to try a little bit of this. Why not?
Yeah, no, I feel you. And I'm like, I admire. Like, I'm like, especially being a photographer in a space who's still figuring out like a lot. I'm really figuring out like how to maneuver, where I want to do, what I want to do next. Like just how how to acquire a space like this, even. Like I admire it because I know that other photographers are trying to figure it out too. And so it's almost like the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates, where they went and they figured out all this stuff for us. Right. And they, like, for the people who may have been thinking about it, but just didn't take the effort to move forward and figure out how to implement this world into the professional photographer. Because I feel like you're redefining what it means to be a professional photography brand, or a professional, to build a brand around a photography business. Yeah. And you've done like you said, you got the app, you have the clothes, you have thingies, which is a cartoon, you have the animated. I think you made an animated version of it, didn't you? You have the animated version of the cartoon. You have like so much as a photographer that now people are can look at us differently. And it's not because, 20 different photographers did 20 different things. It's because one photographer showed, at least me, that I can make a lot more money doing just this one thing that's actually going to probably wear me down and tire me out and make me go back to work at a 9 to 5.
Yeah, burn you out.
Yeah, burn me out.
And that's another thing that helps me not burn out is that I try a lot of different things. So in ways like I'll try this and I'll work on this and I'll work on this. So I'm not really burnt out on that one thing. Like if I'm tired of doing something, I can do something else.
Right. Do you use social media?
Yeah.
You use social media?
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite platform? Instagram, Facebook?
For my posting my work out, it'd be Instagram because that's where like it all started, and that's pretty much still my main income when it comes to like the business, like the whole business is making money is through Instagram.
Yeah.
But then TikTok, I'm always on TikTok watching videos and stuff like that. So TikTok takes a lot of my time. Yeah.
I'm still waiting on TikTok to let us know what's going on. I'm still trying to figure out what's
getting rid of it.
If they staying or coming.
They might, but remember, just like Instagram and not Instagram, MySpace. Don't worry, don't build for the platform. Build for you.
There you go.
Like build for yourself. So like you can make a video, save it. You know, it might go away and then put it somewhere else.
Put it on a shirt.
Put it on a shirt.
Put on some pants.
Shirt ain't going away.
Yeah.
Might be in the washing machine.
Have you would you say you built yourself like a community in the space that you're in?
Yes. Yeah. I feel like right now with the studio also, we have a big community because I pretty much know almost all the photographers in the area. And they all come here and, you know, to create their projects and stuff like that. And I get to talk to them all the time, see what they're doing. So yeah, I think we have a pretty big community in Tampa.
Yeah. And I feel like I've even met like a lot of photographers through you just from being here in the studio.
Yeah.
As well as a lot of models and a lot of
a lot of models.
Yeah.
A lot of business people come and create their content for their business. I've met a lot of people, a ton of people. And I see them, sometimes I'll see them working with other people that come here and like, oh, another person, new person.
I just, for some reason, I just had this thought, this memory of you and I. Before you moved into this studio, you had a smaller studio space.
A small, yeah.
And I know you wanted so bad to get out of that space or to at least do something more with that space.
Right.
And congratulations, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Moving to the bigger space. We've talked about how you use clothing as a form of marketing. You use social media as a form of marketing. And you use your creativity. I remember you and we went and we did one of the most traditional forms of marketing that a lot of people don't do nowadays.
Oh, the flyer pass out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Regardless of the amount of success you're at, like some people would consider this to be like a great amount of success. You may not. I'm not here. I would love to have a photography studio myself. Why do you go out there on foot and hand out flyers still? Like, why do you feel like that's still important for you to do?
Because the world is constantly changing. And if you're sitting in the studio, it's changing around you, and you go outside and it's totally different. So with pass down flyers to people, you get to see like what are people wearing, like you can interact with different people, and it just keeps you fresh on what's going on in the world and meeting new people that you wouldn't have met, you know, sitting in the studio or typing on Instagram. Remember we met that one guy who was from New Jersey or something like that. We would have never met that guy. You know, on Instagram, we would have no reason to meet him. So we met a bunch of different photographers just walking around. Some of them, I think one or two of them that we met there come here now. So
you come to here to the studio,
yeah. So
and I guess
that one flyer, you know, cost what, like 10 cents. I made the studio a couple $1,000. So
that's a good ROI.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are spending money on ads and not even like knowing how to target.
They're going to right. So we can just right now we know all the spots that photographers are going to. Like they're going to like the beach. They're going to like nice little areas that look cool for pictures. So you can just go walk over there and hand them a flyer. Wow. But the thing about, what makes that different for me versus like you as a photographer, because the photographer is my client and also the model is my client. So I have two different clients.
That's true.
So like versus a photographer, that's not, it wouldn't really, the people there are their clients, but the photographer not necessarily, depending on like, they might need a headshot or something like that. But both of the people are my clients.
Right.
Because I have the studio and I'm also a photographer.
And you also teach.
And I teach. And now I have consumables like, t-shirts and stuff like that. So it's a few different ways that we hit the same client or multiple clients.
Yeah, I'm actually a customer of his as well. I use the studio. So I'm a perfect example. Right. I even wear the clothes. And I'm just an advocate of everything that you have going on here. But you make a really good point as to how you've made both yourself, the photographer, and the model a client. And it probably doesn't even stop there. Like, you have brands, other brands, especially the camera you shoot with, that can become a partner or a client.
Right. That's what we're working on.
Whatever. Yeah.
So I think that's the next big venture that I'm trying to go on, which I probably should have done this a long time ago, but me doing so many things, I couldn't really focus. And so I'm really going to niche down on getting on YouTube, building a channel like that, and then try to pick up these brand sponsorships for the studio.
You're going to do it.
Yeah. We're going to make it happen.
What is the most overrated thing that you are hearing in our space today? Like the most overrated, let me not say thing, because there's a lot of things in photography. What is the most overrated approach that you see a lot of photographers take when it comes to trying to brand themselves, or not even overrated? What is the biggest mistake that you see a lot of photographers are making when trying to brand themselves and then market themselves on social media?
On social media is something that I just found out myself, just not using it properly. So like putting the tags in the right places on the actual homepage, not even like in the picture, but like on the, like in the headers and stuff like that, in the bios and stuff like that. There's certain ways you got to actually set it up now that they keep changing. So you got to keep keep searching different things on the search bar, so to like see if you pop up and stuff like that. I don't know how many photographers actually do that. I do that like all the time. Yeah. See if I like pop up, and if I'm not popping up, I was like, oh well, gotta make more content, put it right so I can make sure I'm on that page.
So they're basically not putting out enough content, and then not
putting enough content, because you gotta think your customer, like the customer that's not in tune with like the whole photography world and stuff like that, they're gonna book the last person they saw or their cousin. So if they saw you 10 minutes ago and they just thought, oh, I need to do a photo shoot, they're gonna book you. If they saw Joe Blow, they're gonna book Joe Blow. So you gotta stay on top of that. And then if they're searching, say they live in LA, they like LA photographer, they're gonna type in LA photographer on the thing. If you don't have that in your bio, you're not gonna pop up.
That's true.
That's a little SEO thing.
That's kind of like standard, right?
Right.
Like standard things that you should do as a photographer that a lot of people, I've seen those mistakes as well. And even just like not having a way to contact or reach out to people outside of the social media space.
Yeah. You need a website. You need, actually a really big mistake is when it comes to that is pricing, but how you send the pricing to the customer.
Okay, talk a little bit about that.
So like if a client hits you up and they're like, oh, I need to book a photo shoot, and you can't send them a standard thing right away, like you're like kind of guessing like how much your things cost, and you're kind of changing every time. You're not consistent with that. The reason they might have came to you is because somebody else might have did a photo shoot, and you tell them a totally different price, and they're like, oh, this dude's trying to scam me or something. Yeah. So it's easier just to send them a standard thing that you already made, sitting somewhere. Either it's on your website or you saved it to your photos and you send it to them.
Yeah, and that's I was guilty of that, years ago, where I would be just pen paling it really quick, just sending it over.
And it helps you because, a lot of times, you might be nervous to send your prices because because you're creative. You don't want to deal with like money.
Yeah.
So like, you're like, well, I can do it for $50. And then you're like,
like you don't want to lose the job.
You're not trying to lose a job. It's the best thing to do is send that thing and forget about it until they hit you back. If they don't hit you back, then it was too much.
Right.
They're just not your customer.
Oh man, look, I felt that.
Yeah. Because I used to do it too. Like I used to be like, I don't know what to price. As soon as I made that standard form, I could just send it and not have to think about it. Changed everything.
Yeah, and you like the hardest thing for us, like you said, we are photographers. We don't want to like we love what we do. We love to do what we do. Sometimes we can allow ourselves to work too hard for not enough money, and or even for free sometimes, or too much. I'm guilty of just like I was charging very, very low for so long before I decided to finally raise my prices. And
A lot of photographers come here and still do that.
Yeah,
still charging too low,
and
not making any. I'm making more money than them as the studio rental.
Oh, so they didn't even
make any sense.
Make any money. Yeah, that's maybe you should start. Do you don't know
what
do you have any intention on? Because I know you teach classes on photography, but you're probably not going to mentor as in like a business photography coach.
Well, I mean, people, I whenever they come in and they tell me their prices, I tell them what to do. I'm like, don't do that no more.
Yeah,
like, change the price. I'll give them that information. That's the information I'm going to give out.
Okay,
because I want them to do better. Because I think of it like this: if the community's doing better, the studio's going to do better.
That's
and
true.
We're all doing better.
That's true.
Because the studio's doing better, then I have more equipment I can buy, and then you got more equipment you can use.
Yeah.
So it's a whole full circle thing. You do better, I do better, I do better, you do better.
Yeah, we just like before we actually turned this camera on, we were talking about, you know, a genius way that him and I could collaborate here at the studio, and it's yeah, coming soon. It's pretty interesting because they're looking right at it, but yeah, it's we do better when we work together, right? And everybody at the bottom is in competition. Everyone at the top is in collaboration. I always say that because it's true. Nobody gets anywhere trying to compete with the next person. I just like you have, and you know, we've addressed is like every day I figure out how can I separate myself from the next photographer, not in like an ill will. Yeah, I'm better than other photographers. Just how can I separate myself? How can I make myself stand out? From the next, not how can I compete with the next photographer? How can I stand out? Like you and I, like I don't have any competition with you. Like I want to work with you, if anything. Like, and I'm not like, I'm gonna build out a bigger studio than him. And if I build a studio, I'm gonna figure out a way we can help each other because that's just how it is, and how it should be. It's not like that enough right now, but that's how it should be, because I feel like even now, and it's gotten much worse, especially because a lot of people are trying to start their own business. Before it was, there was a ton of photographers that still had a 9-to-5 and they didn't care about business. They just wanted to make some money and go and do that. But now, because there's a lot of photographers trying to start a business and they're coming in with the mind of competitiveness and I want to do better than you. I feel like it makes it hard for people like you and I to build, because we understand that we need more of us on the team, or not even just us, but people that are similar and do what we do to help us build. And so have you found yourself in a position where you've tried to work or collaborate with other creatives and it was probably just a horrible experience you wish you never did? Have you ever had experiences like that? You ain't got to say no names, but
collaborating? No, I haven't had like a collaboration issues. I don't think I've had any collaboration issues. The only issues I have is like if I accept something that's like I know I shouldn't accept it, like that's like under budget or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like I regret it. And the client will make you regret it too. That's the only thing that. But like collaborating, I usually have good experience with collaborating because I pick and choose my collaborations, so I don't like to just collaborate with anybody. But when I regret it is when like somebody pays me like, oh, they like I'm trying to be nice and they like, oh, I only have like $50, and then like, well, come to the studio, come on, shoot, whatever, I'm not doing anything, and then it's like it turns into a whole fiasco.
Oh my goodness,
like, dang it.
And it's usually the ones. It's usually those.
Or I'll break something during that collaboration, and it's like,
Right.
thing I broke cost more than
Then
this whole thing. But I usually have pretty good experiences.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen you like upset about something or even get into any like issues with anybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't, because usually if it's gonna be something we're gonna work on together, I'm gonna make it happen. It's gonna, regardless if if you're bringing up or down, if you're bringing it up or down, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be good. So we're gonna make it fire. So I usually doesn't have any bad experience climbing.
Okay. What is what? I'm sorry. What's one piece of advice you can give to a photographer who is just starting out? It may have been like, think of yourself 10 years ago. What would you tell that person?
If you're just starting out, I can make you a millionaire right now. If you're just starting out,
I'm listening.
Because you ain't got no ties to nowhere. This is what you do: move to a town where nobody lives that's a photographer, right? And then you go to all the local schools and tell them that you're the photographer, and you get all contracts from those schools, and now you're rich because no one else is there taking pictures. I've seen it done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, look, he said it.
She's got to find. I don't know how. That's the hardest part, is finding the place where there ain't no other photographers doing this.
Right.
And go to the schools and take pictures of all schools.
I'm sure it's somewhere out there.
There's places. There's places there. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, you got to just go to an undesirable place that you want to move to, and then make it happen.
And
because you got to think, like here in Tampa, there's I think there's 3 studios that run the schools right now.
Wow, really?
Like what's that one up the street? Cody, whatever. They do all the senior photos. They got the contract for that. So high schools can't go to other photographers to take their pictures. They have to go. They have to go to him, right? So imagine you did that in an area where nobody is. You build a whole empire off of that.
That's genius.
So, but you got to be able to move there and live there.
You also and you got to have a team too. I think, right?
I'm sure you don't need one at first.
No, well, not at first. You're right.
Yeah, you'll build a team.
Yeah,
you put it together. That's why
not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's why you'll do really good, because you build a team, pick the people that's going to be there. They're going to be local. They're going to know more people. They're going to just expand that whole endeavor. And there's no culture around that photography in that area, so then building the culture pretty much.
Wow, I feel like I just had a whole coaching session, sitting here with you.
All right, don't move away now.
No, look, I literally just feel like, look, I was about to say, I feel like you just told me to move, to leave.
Right.
And I'm sitting here thinking of places
this happened.
Kansas.
I found this out in West Virginia. So when I was out there doing the stuff with AT&T, I was doing photography on the side still. And there was a guy I just met. He was a photographer, and that's exactly what he did. He's like, I just moved out here. I went to all the schools. I got the contracts, opened the studio, and now that's all I do. Just shoot all day. All the schools.
And he made it sound easy, and sometimes it really is just that
easy. But I mean, there's a lot of work you got to put in. You got to go there. You got to convince them that you're a good photographer, and that you're gonna make it happen. But it's not. If you think about it, if you go somewhere where it's not happening right now, you can make it happen.
It's not that hard. You just got to want it. You got to want it. Yeah. And that's again, he mentioned traditional marketing, like going door to door, walking into these places, and not just sending.
Yeah, that's something you would have to walk into the schools and talk to the superintendent, or maybe even go to city council or whatever.
Yeah,
talk to board of education. Yeah, and get with them.
Yes, a lot of
I can't do that here.
I feel like person to person marketing is always you're not gonna do it.
I can't, because they already got it.
Oh, true.
Sorry, it's already wrapped up.
True, and even right now, in the space of what we do, there's a lot of opportunities opening up in the sports realm of photography for younger people, content creators, to take advantage of.
You can do the same thing with sports teams.
Yeah, you can go
local sports teams.
Even the kids, there's youth sports, and a lot of these are looking they need content. I think flag football is one of the
football's pretty big around.
I think it's the biggest. When it comes to youth sports right now, is the fastest growing industry when it comes to just how the amount of recognition that content creation is putting on the kids.
Right.
And some of these kids are looking like superstars, like more than the NBA and the NFL is making the sports players look like. And I think it's pretty awesome because it just shows how much opportunity there is out there for people like us, if we just go out there and create it or go and get it.
Right. You gotta go get it.
Yeah, and you might not want to shoot sports. You might not want to shoot kids. You might not want to shoot models. You might not want to shoot families. If you have a photographer, whatever it is that you want to shoot, there's always something out there for you. And if there's like if there's one thing that you can like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to. I was gonna say your favorite brand.
Oh, my favorite brand?
Like as far Canon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a Canon guy.
That was too easy. Okay.
I mean, Sony, they could buy my likeness, but I'm sticking with Canon.
They definitely got it right.
Sony's. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Sony's good.
Yeah.
I had a Sony camera at one time, but I like Canon. But Sony is like, you know what? We're gonna equip you with all the latest Sony gear, and like your whole studio has Sony stuff, and then we can add enough lenses to your studio that you can rent it out to your clients, and then it could be a whole business. I'm a Sony guy now. My morals is weak on that end.
There you go. Look, why do I feel like your whole studio gonna be decked out in Sony? You gonna have that one Canon sitting in the corner somewhere. Oh, none?
No.
What's next for YISM right now? Like, what can people expect from you in the next 6 months or a year?
6 months, I would say a lot of YouTube, like a ton of YouTube. So we're like really beefing up that area just to have just to get people used to watching, and then the app comes out, the video app, and so I want them used to watching things, so that way they're like, okay, this is a good transition. I can watch it on here now. Okay, so, but that's like probably like a 6 months to a year plan, because the whole app thing, I'm gonna have to like figure out how to do cloud storage and all this stuff that I don't know anything about. I have to figure out. I don't know what I don't know yet, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
when we get there.
Yeah, that's another thing that intrigues me about you is the amount of learning that you put into, because you're developing apps.
Learning.
Like,
yeah, I'm developing apps. I don't even know how to make an app.
And I've seen like you've went and figured out how to do it, and you've made an app.
Made several apps.
Yeah.
And make money off them too. Like,
a lot of people out here are just lazy.
Yeah, you got to be like. Well, I mean, some people don't have access. Some people don't have drive, and I always have to look at what. So it's something I always have to think about when I'm trying to tell people stuff. If they don't have the same experience as I have, I feel like joining the Army gave me a kind of a drive that most people won't have in like your regular everyday life, because the Army, it pushes you to find that limit, and then and also like going to like being in a combat situation in war and stuff like that overseas, it gives me a reference point that I can be like, I survived that. I can make this app happen. A lot of people don't have that reference point. So it makes it a little bit like, if your reference point, the hardest thing you ever done was like an interview at Target, you don't have that kind of reference. You can do anything.
Right.
Like, the global, the overlook is not as big, because like you're like 20 and you've worked at Target.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of and this may have been what you experienced going into the Army, because and I'll ask you that in a second, but like the quantum leap kind of concept of putting yourself in a space that's going to push allow you to be pushed past your limits or your norm. Going into the military, is that something that you kind of like, was it a tough decision for you to make?
No, I always wanted to be in the military because I wanted the adventure. That's why I joined the military.
Okay.
So I was always going to join. Well, I wasn't always going to join the Army. Excuse me, Red Bull.
Yeah.
But so I joined the military because I wanted to be an astronaut at first.
Oh, okay.
So when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut and go to space. And I changed my mind about that whole situation because I went to like a little mini space camp and found out like astronauts just fix stuff in space. I was like, I don't want to do that.
What do you think astronauts
I
did?
need the adventure. I want to go to, like Star Trek, Star Wars, I need to go fight the aliens on distant planets and stuff like that.
And you realize that was
That's not what they do. They might fix a couple nuts and bolts, do some science experiments. It's a little bit more exciting now than it was then, but it was not exciting. Like,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think all of as kids we thought.
Yeah,
or even
we want to go to space and see what's out there and like go explore planets and worlds and stuff like that. Yeah. And I feel like they don't do that now. I mean, they still they're exploring planets, but not in the way you would think in like if you're a kid. Yeah. You're thinking, oh, we're gonna go out to Mars and go journey on Mars and stuff like that, moonwalk and all that stuff. They went to the moon and never went back. Then what's up with that? Yeah. Well, I know why now, but
right.
They had the money. They had to drive. There's no reason to.
Okay.
All that kind of stuff, you gotta have a reason to do it.
And your reason was because to be an astronaut.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to be an astronaut, but I wanted the adventure. So
you wanted the adventure.
My next adventure was the Army stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And yeah.
And it took me on an adventure. I mean, not all of it was great. Mm-hmm. A lot of Army stuff is,
but a lot of it, 12 years is a long time. Like that does
see a lot of things, but you find out the world's not what it really is.
Wow. So, wow.
And that's another reason I feel like I can do anything, because the world's not really what you think it is. Mm-hmm. It's all.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of things.
Fugazi, smoke and mirrors.
Right. So just worry about you.
No, not worry about you. You can do whatever you want, because
there you go.
Because the guy that invented this, that, and the third is just like you. He's just like, oh shit, I can make that happen.
Yeah. Huh.
I think Steve Jobs said that. He was like when you figure out that the walls around you were built by somebody that's no smarter than you. The guy that built this wall or put that light bulb in, it's like, he's no smarter than you. He's just a regular guy. He just found the information and did it.
He just took his creativity and put it into action.
Not even creativity, somebody else's creativity, and just did it.
Y'all hear that?
Yeah, because you don't have to be creative. You don't have to be creative to be successful. You just have to act on creativity in general.
Or someone else will act on it for you.
Yeah. Or you'll be acting on somebody else's thing.
Or you'll be acting on someone else's.
Yeah.
That hurts.
So when you figure that out, like the whole world is like that. Like everything. Like even the concept of the United States of America is only a concept because we all won't let it be a concept. So you got to think about that on the scale of the whole planet. Right. It's the same way.
I can agree to that. And I feel like when anybody kind of just dials in on whatever, I think, like you said, problem solving, and there was another one, problem solving and two things that the military taught you.
Problem solving and what did I say? And just making stuff happen.
There was the second one was important, but if we focus on, I'm going to say creativity. If we focus on being creative, being in our creative space, and creativity comes in many different forms. It's not just art. Like being creative is just using your mind. If a lot of us
figure something out.
Yeah, if we just all use our mind to solve the problems that exist in this world, for whoever it is that you want to solve the problem for. You don't have, it could be anybody. Just find a problem to solve and solve it. Then I think a lot of us can really find not just like happiness but especially today, a lot of us can find our purpose. A lot of us can really find our purpose if we just do that. Like,
the quickest way I found to find things to solve is when you go through your day and you're like, I wish I had this, or I wish this was, I wish, dang, why is this like this? I hate that. I hate that this doorknob is here.
Yeah.
It's the whole business right there.
And make it easy. Like you got rid of the whole like backdrop stand, right? Like usually,
Yeah, because I hate the you trip on the back.
The legs.
It takes up this much space in the studio.
Exactly.
You know? So
like this is held up by magnets, y'all.
Yeah, this is held up by magnets. So you gotta think a smaller studio with a like say it was like only from here to here, you're taking up this much space with stand space. You know, that's you lose that much space. You put that on the wall.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to ever do that. Other people do it, but you gotta do it.
Yeah, and like get creative, solve a problem, don't be lazy.
Write down your wishes.
Ooh.
Yeah, just write it down. I wish
Journaling.
Yeah.
Journaling is important. Do you journal?
Yeah. So I used to journal way more.
Yeah.
Now I just I'll write down things that are really important because I feel like when you write them down, your brain finds it more.
Yeah.
So
tends to focus on it just because of that activity. Like it's like
it's like you're telling your brain, this is what I need you to be hunting while I'm going through my day.
Mm-hmm.
The new car effect.
Do you read?
Huh?
You read books? Are there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Books.
Like, are you into like fiction, nonfiction?
Nonfiction books. A lot of just brain expanding books. Books about like 48 Laws of Power and stuff like that.
You read that book?
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have it, but I haven't read it. My girlfriend read it.
Sleep.
It was her book. Isn't it like I've seen it?
The audiobook is on Spotify. You can just play
it's not on Audible?
It's on everything. You just play it. It's a good book. It's a book. If you read the book and I read the book, then we know things about each other that other people don't know. Type things.
Right. Man, look, can you let the people know how they can get in touch with you? How they can find you?
So you can find me. It's Yes I Shoot Models on Instagram. YesIShootModels.com. YISM Studios. So you can find me on all social medias with those handles. Anywhere. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. What else is it? Facebook. All that. Come say what's up at the studio. Get you a pizza next door.
And again, if y'all are ever in the Tampa Bay, it's an insider, right? No, literally, there's a pizza spot next door. There's a pizza spot next door. But if you're ever in the Tampa Bay area, y'all come check out the studio. Who knows? You might see me here. I'll pop in and out.
If you're watching this in the future, there might be a studio near you somewhere. Or something totally different that we can't even comprehend right now.
Yeah. Somebody's making it. Somebody's coming up with it.
No, that we did.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, you talking about that?
Like another studio.
Oh yeah.
In like Texas.
Yeah.
Or like a garden that we made into a studio. That's a movie set. Shh.
I'm cutting. No, I'm gonna put that in there.
You can tell people your ideas. They're not gonna do it.
That's true. That's true.
If they do it, then it just adds to the whole greatness of everything.
Then yeah,
it makes it a circle.
Yeah,
more studios. So like in Hollywood, right? There's like a bunch of studios, right? If there was no studios in Hollywood, then it wouldn't be what it is, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
So make a studio.
It builds the culture.
Yeah, nobody.
Hollywood culture. So like Tampa, if Tampa had a ton of studios, people would fly into Tampa to go to a studio because they know there's a lot of studios.
Just like
versus if there was one studio, I'm like, oh, it's one cool studio. But there's a lot of cool studios. Ooh. That could be a whole destination.
If you're in Tampa and you are not even just a photographer, but if you have the means to start a studio, come meet with one of us. I'm sure we could help make it a success.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is there anything else that you would like to leave your community or my community with?
If you're thinking about doing what you want to do, start today. That's it. Start now. Even if you can't figure out how to do it, just start. Right? Write the name down on a sheet of paper. Whatever it is, you want to start an ice cream shop. Start figuring out how to make ice cream. Watch a YouTube video. Just start.
Just start, y'all. I think you and I have been trying to do this for about a month, right?
Yep.
2 months. It finally happened. I'm glad.
Made it happen. I wasn't going to do it. Because I don't really do interviews like that.
And I was afraid to ask. I'm not going to lie. I was afraid to ask because I knew he was probably going to be hesitant.
I was like, I don't know.
I'm glad you did, though. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is like, it means a lot to me because like you've had an impact on my growth in this industry. So,
I
and
appreciate you having me.
yeah, man, look, I'll have you on again in the future, maybe 6 months from now when you have, you know, you'll see him again, you
We'll
guys.
see.
You'll see him again. Make
See
sure
it.
y'all
See in the
follow
future.
him on all his social medias. Check out his YouTube channel, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Just make sure you subscribe. If you like this episode, please subscribe, like, comment what you like, one big takeaway you got from this episode, and we'll see you on the next episode.
We'll see you in the comments, guys. Audi 360.